Well, hello there, and welcome to the Fantasy Fiends podcast. I sure hope you like nipples. Wait, I can't get my nipple on the screen.
Stevie, you should probably do it in the voice of Finn. Seeing as you're dressed up like Finn, do it in the voice that you imagined when writing him, like at the beginning of the book.
You know what? He actually kind of sounds like me. It's like not a very deep voice. He's just
say higher.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher. Yeah.
I was thinking of like this little, not little kid, but like those teenagers who never really get the adult voice until they're like 18 or 19. That's kind of what I imagine for Finn.
He is like Luffy from One Piece. If anyone's ever watched that, I doubt anyone has. But it's but throughout the books, he's a late bloomer, but he definitely blooms at least by the end of the second book. So I would say it's close to my voice. But today we have an awesome. I assume the guest is being flaky. Haha. Wait, what does that mean?
What?
Flaky. So wait, Angel, you're so did you? Those aren't real tattoos on your neck, are they?
No, those are the veins.
The veins.
Yeah. I'm a gooch troll.
So who are you dressed up as?
The gooch troll.
Oh, so you're just a big. Wait, your daughter's not gonna watch this, is she?
Well, that's why I didn't put the whole thing on my face and with the glitter and.
I don't know if you.
I did see a whole bunch of pictures that I could do, but.
You're gonna have to explain this for me. I've heard this joke too many times and I don't know what it is. Stevie, what is a gooch troll?
It's a big floppy penis. your gooch.
He's not always floppy.
Not always floppy, but for Finn, yeah, you're right.
No, he turns to stone.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, you are a big fan of the Bizarre. I forgot it goes to stone. Yeah, it's a really awkward bathing scene where the king that he's with, I don't want to give anything away, but the king sends him two women to have sex with him, and Finn denies it. He doesn't want, he's more of a traditional guy. That's why everyone hates him so damn bad in Shimo is because he's not the average guy. We could argue, if people like that even existed in the medieval times. I doubt they did, but I made Finn that way.
So so gooch troll is a way of saying dick?
Yeah, but only to Finn. No one else knows what that means.
That's so weird, Stevie.
And that's why I've gotten 2-star reviews, and I think one said it sounds like it was anyway, just terrible reviews, but they were both by like 60-year-old dudes, so it makes sense. But in book 4, I introduced new diction. Don't worry, we have the gooch troll, we have the what is it, the crotch goblins, and then
crotch goblins is the kind of thing I imagine for a really bad STD or something.
Well, it probably is. It's plural, and that's what scares me. Like there's multiple ones.
That's the kind of thing I'd expect from Kings of the Wild. Like if he ever got into describing some sort of STD that the bands pick up in their festivals and stuff, I would have sworn like lice, but they're lice-sized goblins, crotch goblins. It's exactly what I imagine from that.
And then we also have I just created this yesterday. Taint tentacle. Taint tentacle. That's gonna be the new one. So, and there's gonna be dialogue in book 4, and I can't really tell you the characters, but we know Ariel, who is this flutter-headed girl who's extremely powerful. We have Finn, we have Jade, and then we have a new character that I introduced in book 3. But anyway, they're having an argument about the word for penis. And Finn comes up with gooch troll. He's like, it's called a gooch troll, guys. And Ariel's like, no, I've heard taint tentacle. And this other character who I don't really want to mention because he's my favorite character, it's a gnome. He's like, no. Crotch goblin, guys. Crotch goblin. And then Jade, Andy, you're probably a Jade character. Very serious. And then Jade's like, he freaks out. He's just like, this is ridiculous. But it's much funnier in the book. Rebecca says, there's a reason why we call him the 3-ball wonder, taint testicle. This is so Angel here has read the entire Jigsaw. Andy has gone halfway through before the humor just got to him too much and he had to stop.
Too much Stevie.
Too much Stevie. It's like I get enough of this guy on Thursdays. I think you could kind of like if Amazon kicked me off and I had to write another book and I wrote something like Jigsaw, I think people would know it's a Stevie Collier book. You know, I really came into my voice on this one. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not really sure.
So you think this is going to be like the way you're going to write every book from now on?
I don't think I could ever go backwards. You know, the Golden Blade is actually a lot more different than the Jigsaw Blade. It's actually more serious. We have a lot more character development, and actually, you know, Mike says it's a way better book than Jigsaw, and he loved the Jigsaw Blade. So I'm just like, what? Are you serious? And then Plague Blade is a mixture of Jigsaw Blade and Golden Blade. It's in fact, in the blurb for the Plague Blade at the very bottom, it says, buy this book if you're looking for wacky heroes, dark battles, and hold on, it's actually worth me looking up because I created it this morning because Plague Blade is out on pre-order and I needed a blurb.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I just got, man, I'm getting a little bit better at blurbs, but they still suck. Okay, pre-order the Plague Blade to join a strange, inappropriately humorous, and action-packed fantastical adventure. So inappropriately humorous. I think I need to like warn people. Like,
is this more so than the Jigsaw Blade then?
No, it's definitely a little bit more sexual, I would say.
Or you're just giving people a warning this time?
Yeah, so exactly. So if you're going to read the book, just know that there's going to be scenes where people are dying, and there's this one character who's blind and he's insane. He's literally insane. Will crack dick jokes while his friends are dying. It's and the reason why I did that with Plague Blade was because if people get through book 2, then they obviously like the stuff. So I'm going to go like book 3 is no apologies. Like, it's all me. It's like if I was nude and humping in your face. Like, that is right there in your face. You open up the book of Plague Blade and you're opening my legs up. I'm right there.
So like every week on the Fantasy Fiends podcast, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. This is as much porno as you can get on YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Rebecca's like, I'm so glad. No, Finn does not go blind. Oh, wait, that's like a masturbation joke, right? Where Finn, you can go blind, or your palms grow hairy.
Stevie hasn't gone blind yet.
Not yet. At least we don't. Y'all don't know that for sure. Well, Andy does. He's seen me in person. I don't. Whoa! Almost got really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could sense that one. It was just going to be terrible. I'm so glad you pulled it.
Even people like me have filters. They agreed to the tip for book 2, get the whole Shafted future books. Okay, so Andy, what do we do when it's just us and Angel?
Well, we start off by doing the cool thing of the week topic, Steve.
Oh, okay.
The thing you throw in every week.
Yeah, I didn't know if we did that for us. Well, anyway, have I ever done a cover reveal for the Plague Blade?
Not here. You just did Jigsaw, I think.
It's weird. I've also done Bloodblade, but I don't think I've ever showed anyone the Plague Blade.
No, you didn't have Bloodblade finished yet, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then now I actually have no, I don't. But we could do that too, or I could show what's your cool thing of the week while I get this pulled up.
Well, I think the cool thing of the week has just been the progress I've made at the Silent Champions book 3. Today I hit 230,000 words. I've still got 10 chapters left to flesh out, so I'm thinking it'll be probably 250 or more by the time it's done. I feel bad for my editor. You know, I'm really thinking that it's going to be, you know, like it's one of those books that are long, but I'm hoping it doesn't feel long because every chapter, you know, is there for a reason. It serves a purpose. It plays, you know, a part in the battle. There's some emotional payoff. There's something, you know, like now I'm at the end. So this is when all the emotional stuff is paying off. But like every single scene serves a very specific purpose. And so I'd like to think that when people read the book, yes, it's a long book, but drag them along through the story. Because I mean, this is book 3. So by the time you're at book 3, this will be 350,000 words, however many pages that is. By the time you're here, you should be invested enough in these characters that when one of them is about to die, you feel it. I actually had a great death scene where the characters said they love each other by saying "fuck you." It was perfect.
Oh,
It was 2 soldiers, and it's 2 guys. So they're they've been rivals from the very beginning, super competitive, but they've they become friends because that's sort of the way the brotherly nature is. And so one of them's like, I save your breath, don't waste your words. I know that I'm your hero and that I exemplify everything that you've aspired to be as a soldier. And when we're done, when you're better, we'll I'll teach you everything I know. Just being like super patronizing and ridiculous. Of course, it's a sad moment. And he's like, fuck you. And he's like, fuck you too, man. It was perfect.
That sounds like a Kings of the Wild death.
I'll take it. Well, the thing is, it's soldiers. So soldiers have a totally different approach to that sort of thing, right? The way that they face death on a daily basis is totally different than the way you and I would. So like the way that they do it is with this super grim, bleak humor, total irreverence to anything that's dangerous. This is I've been watching SEAL Team a lot, and I really like the characterization of some of the characters on the show. Like there's this impossible mission that they're going to, and they're talking about all the there's like, okay, there's 50 tanks there's 200 soldiers. Oh, but don't forget about the scorpions. Like that's the thing that they focus on. And it sort of like takes the power away from the danger and the fear. And it's sort of their way of coping with it. And so when writing these soldier characters, it's sort of how I've been approaching it, is that like in one of the scenes today, they're rowing a boat. And the guy's like, why, we're on the ocean. Why are we rowing this little tiny boat? And the guy's like, just shut up and row. This is, as long as I'm complaining, I'm not thinking about the fact that we're about to be eaten by sharks. Just stuff like that. That's the way that the soldiers approach the dangers that they face. So it's a really different way of writing, and I'm really enjoying it.
Did you actually talk to? I know you've talked to a lot of soldiers about your previous writing. Have you done that for this one, or you just took from previous?
Yeah, no. A lot of scenes, especially the ones that are like really delicate, I have talked to soldiers specifically about that, or people, spouses of soldiers. Like there's one scene in this book there's a scene in the beginning with some PTSD, survivor's guilt, from some soldiers that survived an ambush, that their entire company was massacred except for like 15 of them. And so when I was writing that scene, I didn't actually write the scene until I wrote the second pass of the book, because I wanted to make sure I got it. But I made sure to ask all the questions, okay, what would they really focus on? And they're like, okay, the experienced soldiers wouldn't have that sort of survivor's guilt because they've lost friends before. So they'd be focused on, honoring the deaths of their comrades. Whereas the recruits, the newbies, they would be feeling all kinds of ways, but they might not know, how to channel it. And so they'll lash out at something that they perceive as, insulting the people who died or whatever. Like it's a different way of writing things. It's far less obvious, I would say, than I'm used to. So it's an interesting experiment.
And what book is this? What number is this? 3?
Book 3, yeah.
God, 230. It's how long are the Robert Jordan books?
I think like 300 some.
Dude, you're getting up the. I mean, anything above 110,000 words is supposed to be an epic, right? 100,000.
Oh, I don't know. I can't write shorter than 100,000.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to. From a business perspective, I've been trying to write a little bit less, and I don't know. It doesn't work though. It's so hard to write less. It's like, well, I got to get this one last detail in. Angel, do you have anything cool?
I got my cover art started today for book 2.
Ooh.
Do you want to show everybody your cover 1?
Or is that a secret?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
It's a screen share.
Oh, no, that would take too long.
Oh, you're scared.
Me to figure out how to... Oh, no, it's pretty sweet, but...
Actually, I've seen it's the one with the kind of gladiator on it, right?
That's one of them, yeah. I've got 3 of them done right now.
Nice.
One
Yes.
I'm not sure about.
So Angel's doing everything right. She is going to just blast off. Like with the Dark Assassin series was like a fluke. Its success was a fluke. It should never have been that successful. And I did a lot of research. Angel has done like double, triple what I did. And it's all in the newsletter swap and stuff like that. And Angel's doing it all with well, that's good, Angel. So you have
I published in 2011. I did the whole screw up before.
Yeah, okay, so you did do what I did.
You screwed up royally. Didn't know what
Okay.
you're doing and just throw it out.
Oh, but you were back in the 2011 era? Man.
Era.
That era, I wish I could go back in time and do a Jigsaw release. That'd be dope. So I can go ahead and screen share the Plague Blade if anyone is intéressé.
Yeah,
Let me
do it.
Do it. Screen share. And make sure my Pornhub tabs are closed.
Yeah. All of them, all 55
All
of
of
them.
them. Meow. Ow. Can you guys see that full screen?
Not yet. We're still looking at your hands in the face.
What? I did screen share. You are presenting that very. Wait. Yeah, screen share. Share. Boom. There we go. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Tell me if this gets bigger. Boom.
Huh.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we have the semen, yellow semen. No. So we have the plague attacking Finn, and Finn is reaching up for the plague blade, which is stuck in a tree with like plague goo. And in the back, that dinosaur is called a Carnotaurus, and or AKA a Devilsaur. They have shorter arms, and they were one of the faster meat-eating dinosaurs. I mean, they weren't the largest, but they were like, if you wanted to be afraid of a dinosaur, you would be terrified of this one. I mean, in fact, if you've watched Dinosaurs by Disney, that's the main antagonist. Has anybody seen that?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Dinosaur with Aladar?
Yeah.
The Carnotaurus is the main antagonist in that.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's they've got horns. They've got actual horns that they used to that we know of they would buck. But so jokes aside, Jigsaw does have a lot of serious moments, and it ends with a very serious cliffhanger, which leads to a more serious Golden Blade. But Golden Blade still has a lot of humor. I mean, we start off with a pirate battle between Finn, Jade, and fudge, I cannot remember the pirate's name, but the way that this, I don't want to give anything away, but the book does have a very serious theme, and that is intuition. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. In fact, a lot of people don't like that part of the book because, they think that, Finn should have a reason to do what he does. And, Andy pulled up a good point with the first scene, and I did fix that. But the rest of it, Finn uses a lot of gut feelings and uses his heart to decide on things. And I also wanted to talk about the difference between common sense and intuition, because there is a big one. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because whenever I was younger, my football coach told me I had no common sense. I was probably 12 years old. He's like, "You have no common sense." And it hurt my feelings. And so I kept asking him, "What is common sense?" And he was like, "It's common sense not to ask. It's just something that you know." And I would go and ask, like, bug this dude. He was probably like 65 at this time. What do I do? And actually, by doing this, I learned common sense and I became aware of making decisions. But the difference between common sense and intuition is common sense, you don't need intuition. You just know what the right decision is. But there are many points in the Bizarre Blade series where Finn has a lot of shit on his shoulders, like so much. And he grew up a weakling, a dork, a dweeb, a hated person by everyone. And now all of a sudden, boom, he's a champion. And people are dying off all around him, but he is not. So he has to, with no training, the only thing that's left is common sense and intuition, and with no training. So he just luckily follows this gut feelings on all the things that he decides. People die. He saves people, but people die. And I would say that's one of the bigger themes of the book. Plus, I'm a huge fan of intuition. Anytime Andy and I make decisions with our author business, I'm always like, what's your gut feeling say? What's your gut feeling say, man? What's the great Buddha say?
Let me ask you this, Stevie. When you
Yes.
talk about intuition, what do you mean?
When I talk about intuition, I am saying that, man, now that you put me on the spot,
That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, the intuition. So let's say, you know, there's an obstacle in front of me. I will move towards a certain path that other people wouldn't take. You know, it just, everyone's intuition is different. And okay, let's take my writing, for example. I follow my intuition when it comes to writing an actual story. I don't outline, I just know how a story goes and I feel it within me. And it's just intuitive for me to make these decisions and how to create a 4-act structure without knowing how to do it or without writing anything down. That is me being intuitive.
Now, do you take intuition are you intuitive when you try to fix your car? When you try to tinker with your engine?
I would say half and half.
Or when you're trying to write a computer program?
Okay, when I'm trying to write a computer program, I would say no. My intuition would be I need to get someone else to do this.
So this is where I think you might have the definition of intuition a little bit wrong. You know me, Stevie. I did research before this. I
did no research. I'm going off what I've learned in my books.
So
intuition.
Intuition is not magically coming to a conclusion. Basically, intuition is just coming to a conclusion without being aware of how you got there. For example, you know over the course of your years that 2 + 2 always equals 4. Now, if I said 2 + 2 × 2 × 3 + 5, and you said 85, I don't know if that's the answer or not, but you were right. Your brain was working so fast without you being conscious or aware of it, and it came to the answer. That's intuition. It's not plucking it out of your hat, like not figuring out how to code a computer program with no knowledge. It's based on all of your knowledge, all of your experiences, all of every decision you've ever made. It's all combined into this one thing. And so you've got this massive warehouse, the storehouse of experience to draw on. And your brain, it comes to these conclusions so quickly that you don't have time to follow the process that leads you there. So like, let's say Finn approaches an obstacle, right? Let's say he approaches a mountain. If he's never climbed a mountain before, he wouldn't know whether to take the left-handed trail or the right-handed trail if they look identical. Now, if he's ever walked, he'll see that the incline on the right-handed trail is less steep. So if he's a fat kid, he's going to take the right-handed one because it's less steep. He has no idea which way it goes. He has no way to know whether there's dangers on either one. He's got no intuition because he has no experience to base it on. And this is where a lot of people misunderstand what intuition actually is. It's all based on past experiences. You've just come to this conclusion so quickly, you don't know how you've got there. Instead of step by step figuring it out. Like I tend to do that in my writing. I don't intuit anything, or my characters don't usually come to intuitions because I need to understand how they came to these conclusions for myself and how for their characters, for their experiences, they could have come to the conclusions that the guy who's sitting behind the desk who's lived a totally different life, could come to them. So I kind of have to walk my characters through that journey. Not everyone does that. I like to do it because it helps me understand it. But
so it seems like it's a common mistake then between gut feeling and intuition then.
Well, both, like, so a gut feeling,
because they are different.
A gut feeling, a hunch, intuition, they're all sort of the same words or different words to say the same thing. In essence, because like if you let's say Arabic, you looked at two Arabic words, could you tell which one was lamb and which one was beef? You'd have no intuition there because you have no frame of reference to draw from. Now, if you know French, you know Japanese, let's go with Japanese. You recognize, you see this kanji you've never seen before, right? but there's something about it that you can almost remember. It looks a little familiar from when you were studying kanjis.
Like a piece of the radical.
Exactly. So if you were said, okay, now does this kanji mean 3 or 850? You've never learned the numbers, but you know more or less a little bit of what the kanjis look like. Then you have a frame of reference to go off of, and then you can have intuition. But just approaching something that you've never seen before, never faced before, you have no frame of reference or context, it's not intuition. That's magical thinking.
I thought intuition was lack of thought.
No, it's just decisions that it's a decision that you come to without consciously being aware of how you come to a decision.
But a gut feeling you can actually put towards making a decision. So wouldn't that make it different?
No, because it's the same thing. A gut
like
feeling,
a multiple choice.
A gut feeling is just another way of expressing it. Intuition is a fancier word. A gut feeling is a more colloquial term. In essence, that's the only difference. You don't usually actually feel it in your stomach. Some people do. I'm not going to say they don't, but some people do feel it in their stomach. Most people don't actually feel anything in their stomach. It's just a term that we've all come to accept to mean intuition or a hunch, which is based off of information that we've accumulated over the course of our lives, decisions we've seen other people make, decisions we've made in the past, TV shows we've watched, books we've read, everything that we have accrued in our life goes into making these intuitive decisions.
I still think after, discussing what intuition is, that Finn still uses a lot of intuition because, so if there is no knowledge of how to do something, do you still
That's not intuition, it's guesswork.
So that's guesswork.
It's different though.
But if you have a feeling towards one more than the other, you're like, well, this is the only thing that could. So I guess
there has to be a frame of reference for that feeling to count as intuition, essentially.
So
like let's say Finn looks at a sword, right? A blade. He has got no idea which blade it is. There's no, goopy plague stuff dripping off of it. It's just a blade, right? A simple looking sword. He'd have no way to intuit what this sword looks like until he has more experience with swords. Maybe he feels a little bit of the magic that's coming off of it, or he's learned to get a sense of what the blade does by its surroundings, or things like that. Once he has context to build off of, then he can have intuition. Otherwise, it's just pure guesswork, and guessing is just chance. 50-50, 25, 25, 25, 25.
Yeah, you kind of blow my mind because I wouldn't know what to call than what what Finn does, because he is faced with a lot of circumstances and he just does stuff. But I mean, I didn't really want to give this away, but I think everyone here has mostly read the Bizarre Blade, at least book 1 or at least halfway. So Jigsaw will actually, when you commune with the Bizarre Blade, it actually messes with your mind. Most of them do. Unless it's like some stupid blade like the Growth Blade, then all it does is shrink your member. Jigsaw actually, and I never say this outright, but Jigsaw actually makes Finn more gruff. And their brains, so Jigsaw doesn't talk, but it does have a personality. Finn's and Jade's actually start mixing, and it's as though Jigsaw knows what to do when Finn doesn't. And this is why Finn makes decisions. So maybe we could call that intuition then, because now he has a second brain that is connecting to us that has experience.
Yeah, there's just got to be some sort of context to draw from.
Okay, so now we're back on track, because Finn at the very beginning is actually connected to Jigsaw before he even connects with it. It's that powerful. It's his destiny is to get Jigsaw. So he's already connected to it. And we learn that, I don't want to give away too much, but I think now I'm on the right track with you, Andy, because you're right. Jigsaw does help him with the decision making. And then as he gets more and more and developed with Jigsaw, and he gets closer and closer to it, and they actually have a falling out, and I don't want to spoil that. And when they have a falling out, Finn becomes brain dead almost. He's like, I don't know what to do. He freaks out. He's like, I don't know what to do without Jigsaw. I'm like, he becomes crazy because half of him is left. And so, yeah, I think that's I'm glad that we talked about this, because I think I was a little bit confused on the intuition part, because when I write, I just let things flow out of my brain.
But it's intuition because you've read a book before. You've written a story before. You have some context to build it off of.
Angel, I feel like we're not giving you a chance to talk.
Well, Finn has been studying all these blades. He's been studying the champion. So I would think that would come into it, right?
So that would be how you do it. For example, let's say Finn's faced with a decision he has no understanding of how to make. All he has to do is think, champion Champion X did this. That right there explains why. Like, I've done that in this military book before. All the time, actually. Every time I need an example, I just say it was included in his military history lessons that he took. So there's he plans a sneak attack from the rear. His father did the same sneak attack at X location. He's got some context to go off of. He's summed up the situation. He's got no idea how to fix it. And then this idea comes to him, or a memory comes to him, or he has this intuition based on this knowledge that he has. Or he's facing an enemy, 10 times larger than him, but because of X battle that someone else won in X location, it gives him an idea to help him succeed. And that's how intuition works. It's putting all these pieces that you've accumulated together and giving you an idea that maybe you can't track its origin or its train of thought to get you where you are now, but you have this idea that's based off of something that you've absorbed at some point in your life.
I think the brain would also start doing some kind of pattern forming. It starts seeing patterns. So, like, let's say multiple choice. Have you ever had a multiple choice? Because I used to take these all the time, where the question to number 36 is actually answered in questions 22, 23, and 27. So your brain picks up that pattern and it goes back. And it's like, okay, well, here's the answer. And when you've previously had no clue what that would have been, but 22, 23, and 27 actually built that for you.
That's
so you would say
that's not intuition. That would be more like guesswork. It would be a calculated guess, an educated guess, but it's still a guess. Because intuition is something like, it does have a logical origin. You just don't know consciously how you got there. It's an unconscious or subconscious thing.
So you don't think intuition could do anything with pattern recognition?
Yes, it could. It could, but you would have to have recognized. You have to have been like recognized the pattern.
Okay,
for it to be there.
I never go that deep with Finn. There's also other themes besides intuition. I just really enjoyed the topic of intuition and gut feeling, especially when it comes to business ideas and stuff like that. So I guess since I do have a huge business background, whenever I make a business decision, it's based on past experience.
Exactly.
And I don't have to give it much thought. So
it's like if you tried to write how an airplane works, you would be able to sort of intuit different elements, like, that if you want to bank right, you've got to go a certain way. If you want to bank left, you got to go a certain way. Now, if you tried to write how a spaceship that you've never understood before, you would have no frame of reference to build off of.
Yeah. So, Angel, kind of like to steer off topic, what was your favorite part of the Jigsaw blade? Besides the Gooch Troll.
I even wore a shirt to.
wait, what does it say? Oh, it does. I thought you cut out all the.
No, because I was gonna put it backwards, and then I'm like, oh wait, this matches the Gooch Troll. What a Gooch Troll would think. So I'm like, Andy, it's okay if I wear this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, life is full of difficult decisions.
I actually learned something else today. Besides, and he's like, what was position 3 and 7? That's me too. That's me too, Andy. So, okay, I'm sorry. Did you answer the question? I was so thrown off by your shirt.
I don't know. I like all the jokes, like your growth blade one. That was awesome.
So, the Golden Blade, though, has, I would say, half the humor. Would that take away from it, you think?
No. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. This is the first book I've ever read like this.
Oh, that's definitely a compliment. Well, thank you very much.
Like there's Kings of the Wild, and then there's holy crap.
Yeah, Kings of the Wild is definitely one of my favorite books, and I
You know,
think
I would say that Bloody Rose had significantly less of the humor that marked Kings of the Wild. Like the Kings of the Wild did really well. I'd say maybe 75%, still enough to make it awesome, but it wasn't as much or as prominent, I guess.
Well, I think in Kings of the Wild, there's only the first 30% that they had it heavy, and then it really slowed down after that.
I think that might be a reason why I stopped Bloody Rose halfway through. It
Oh,
wasn't.
You missed the best part. Like it's got a slow burn, but once you get to the end, I mean, I really like the ending. I walked away from Bloody Rose more emotionally satisfied than when I finished Kings of the Wild.
Really, because that I don't want to give anything away for anybody, but okay, well then that just tells me I need to continue on with that series. But I think everyone's really going to enjoy the reading today. It has nothing to do with intuition or gut feelings or anything like that. It's just, in my opinion, it was funny.
You intuited that it would be a good one.
Yes, because I have previous experience with it.
Very good.
Yeah. So what would we call? So it's just guesswork. That's all you would call it. Guesswork. No divine push towards a decision.
Well, if you want to go with that, if you want to go that route and do, gods that exist and talk to humans, that's fine too. But the thing is, to make these things work, you've got to establish a reason for it. Like if the jigsaw blade is actually talking to him, and it is sentient enough to control his actions, to have some semblance of control over his actions, that's fine. It's got to be established clearly in the books for it to be valid. Now, if it happens, but you never say it, then it never happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. But
Going deep.
I just
it's like the reverse of Chekhov's gun. Or it's like Chekhov's gun. If you need a murder weapon at the end of the book, you've got to set it up at the beginning of the book. If you want a reason for something to happen, you've got to set it up. You can get away with anything as long as you set it up properly.
Yeah, or else it's just the author said so.
Exactly.
So, in fact, actually, I had a question when you said that, your soldiers are like, oh, yeah, well, I've seen that before. It was in my manual. Do you get away with that? Or have you already previously established the manual? Or is it, were you afraid that it might have been an author said so kind of thing?
No. So at the beginning of the first book, they go through a 6 to 9 week intensive course of learning the language, learning sign language, woodcraft, survival skills, weapons practice, military history, like all kinds of stuff. And it's very hand wavium because I never specify exactly what they learn. Because if I did that, I would be limited to exactly that. So it's like there's time jumps where it's very clear what's happened. They've been, training, but there's enough vague detail in between where if I need to fill in something, it's been established that he's having these military history lessons every day. So it works.
Okay, I was wondering because that's what popped in my head. Because when I was writing the Bizarre Blade series, I really focused on not having any author said so moments. But I'm glad I asked that. That would be a cool topic too. But it's more craft. I would think it's more craft. So I do have an announcement. And that is the Jigsaw Blade is doing so freaking well. And first of all, guys, I am so appreciative of everyone who left reviews. Thank you for not being a 70-year-old man who told me that I was a 12-year-old in an 18-year-old's body. No. It was, I think Stevie Collier is a 12-year-old stuck in a 20-something-year-old's body. I was like, dude, I need to go buy some burn cream. God. It's like, seriously, there's one guy with a paragraph and it's just like telling me why I'm stupid, and not funny and not funny.
On Goodreads or on Amazon? I'd like to go read that one.
No. So I'm actually combining two. So no, they're all around the same. If people don't like the book, they're usually old or they look like they just have no sense of humor at all. And all they want to do is leave reviews. I'm not like being angry. I was like hurt reading them, but then I realized that, my Facebook ads are targeting 65 plus, so I wouldn't switch that to 35,
Yeah,
18 to 35 is where we stop.
that's the sweet spot.
Yeah, and actually I haven't really had any more of those reviews, but one guy on a comment on a Facebook ad said, "This is the most ridiculous idea I've ever seen." And in my head I went,
seen
"Thank
that too on mine.
you." Oh man, I was like, in my head though, I went, "Thank you." And he's like, "I've never heard of a more ridiculous concept for a book." And I went, "Thank you." And he's like, and then he went to the childish stuff, obviously, which I've gotten 3 times now. And anyway, stuff like that. But at the end, he said something like, "I wish the author would die," or something really, really, really bad. It was really, really bad. And to my surprise, I had 3 comments below it of people coming to my rescue. And
Nice.
one person commented, "I went and bought this book just to spite Joshua." Yeah, I was like, it's hard being an author because you're really putting your heart and soul out there. I can speak for both Andy and Angel because I know they really take their craft and this stuff seriously, and we put so much effort into this. And people watching this are authors as well. And it's no matter what you say, I think it is going to hurt to a point. And I did have this quick story, and it's about Buddha. It's a story not by Buddha, but a teaching of Buddha. And that is, one day Buddha was preaching in the streets, and one guy followed him, cursing him, saying, "This is the most ridiculous thing. How dare you? How dare you speak to these people about God, blah, blah, blah." And Buddha ignored him. And this went on for days. And finally, the guy got tired. He's like, "Why aren't you answering me? Why aren't you responding? Why aren't you giving me a reaction?" And Buddha turned to him and said, "If you have a gift and you try to give it to somebody, but that person doesn't accept the gift, whose gift is it?" And the guy didn't understand, so he explained it a couple more times. Well, the idea is, so these people are saying horrible things to me on comments, are trying to get a reaction out of me, but if I don't give it that reaction, who's got the negative energy? They do. I don't know. Just something for everybody. I know this podcast is not about hoity-toity spiritualness, but I could make it that way because I love that so much. But I just love that idea, that teaching of Buddha. So take what you will of it. But big news. First of all, again, thank you guys so much for putting the Jigsaw Blade as the #1 release in Arthurian, and it's sitting at 1,300
some, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's doing so well that I am going to write a new series after the Bizarre Blades. I have one more book to write, and it is going to be called The Wicked Whips. And book 1 will be The Hearth Whip, HEARTH whip, The Hearth Whip. And it is a whip similar to Jigsaw, that it has an insane attitude. It has 2 personalities. And the main character will be Ace Whetstone, who is Jade's brother, who we learn Jade doesn't have any brothers. He's adopted. But Ace Whetstone is an Asian dude with candy red apple hair, and he's a pirate. He's the captain of the Romantic Rogues. And their big thing is, what made them so famous is that they only hunt other pirates. The pirates have done all the dirty work for them. But then Finn goes, "That doesn't sound easier. It sounds worse because now you're fighting seasoned warriors." And he's like, "Exactly. And that's why people follow me, because they want that fight." So it's about Ace Whetstone and his journey and how he gets the Hearth Whip. And it's all about wicked whips. So my question now for everyone, if you're paying attention, I know we have Rajin, Rebecca, AF, Rashun. I never can say his name right. I think he says he's in Texas now. Awesome. What whip would you like to see in the Wicked Whip series? And I've come up with a few, so I'll type them out. We have the Skull Whip, the the Spark Whip.
The shit whip is not a very good one.
You know what? Now that you've said it, I am going to. You know what, though? They might want all of them. So my thing was, I wanted a whip that had something to do with, BDSM novel.
Yeah, that's what I've been waiting. I've been waiting for you to stop talking so I can crack a joke about 50 Shades of Grey or something.
With any book about whips with me, there's going to be some kind of BDSM jokes, and throughout the whole series, not just one time. In fact, there is a character
doesn't show up one time.
Oh, he will. He will for sure. The bead. Andy, you're disgusting. You disgusting animal. You know what? Actually, we don't have time. The moaning whip. Okay. All right, guys. No one is being helpful. I came up with the skull whip, the bolt whip, and now we're just like the anal bead whip. Oh, and real quick, look at my Andy. Can you make me present real quick?
Yes. I
So,
can make you presentable, Stevie.
yes, thank you. Can everyone see my handsome mug?
Yes.
So first of all, serious note first. This is a foreshadow. This is a foreshadow of what happens to Finn, and it happens in book 3. So, kind of a cool little piece of thing right there. Not a spoiler though. Do you see the green beard? It kind of looks like I ate out Bebop from Barney. Or I'm like a mixture of Gacy, and God of War. You guys know who Gacy is?
John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown.
Yeah.
Oh, him. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, him.
I know my serial killers.
Do you really? Are you one of those people?
Yeah.
See, the girlfriend watches all that stuff, and then no wonder whenever I try and trap her in the closet, she's scared.
Oh, no wonder.
Yeah, no wonder. So that was my. So, do you guys want to do as much reading as we can from the reading?
Sure. I think we should just spend the last 10 minutes coming up with names for your whip, Stevie.
I think I'm good. I was trying to do something serious for once in this podcast. The whipped cream. The shaft whip. Okay, no. See, AF is being
Stevie,
cool,
you got to know your audience, man. You got to know your audience. You can't talk about whips on a podcast with this kind of audience and hosts and expect somberness.
Maybe this is what you got to put in, though. Maybe this is what they wanted.
Am I just a clown to you all? I write serious novels sometimes. Come on. But do you want to do some of the reading, Andy?
Let's do it.
Okay. So we have Finn. I'll play Finn.
All right.
Angel, do you want to do Ariel?
Of course.
And Andy, do you want to do the
narration?
And Nibblefingers?
What is Nibblefingers?
She is the head of the Champions of Arbitration.
Old, young?
Old, very old, like 75, 80.
So I can do a quavering old person's voice.
Yes, exactly. And chapter 12 is a bizarre awakening. A bizarre awakening indeed.
Oh, I really liked the Ariel character. Her off the wall comments were just so far off the wall they were funny.
She is my dark side.
All right, here we go.
Dark side.
There were holes in the ceiling. Rebecca, take that away. And it was through these holes that sunlight shined. Sparkling dust filled the air, making the light bend ever so slightly. The room smelled of metal and honey, and it was silent. So very silent. Finn blinked a couple of times. His head was pounding, and when he tried to sit up, he found he couldn't. He looked down to see 3 thick leather belts stretched across his body, keeping him stuck snugly to the soft bed he was lying on. He felt something wet on the upper part of his arm. He turned his head painfully to the right and screamed when he saw someone with their tongue in the crease of his armpit. Stevie, you do this and then you expect us to be serious about your book.
There are serious parts to the book, I swear. What the? Get away from me.
He yelled, trying to move himself away, but the bands were making it impossible. The person, a girl around his age with soft pink hair and wide green eyes, lifted her head from his. Her tongue dangled out of her lips for a few seconds before she sucked it back up into her mouth. She raised her eyes to the ceiling as she swished around her saliva before performing a dramatic swallow. She raised one finger into the air and in a high-pitched voice said,
That tasted like polka dots.
Who are you?
Finn asked, his mouth twisted in revulsion at the girl who just licked his armpit.
Who is she?
Asked the girl, pointing to herself.
Who are you?
She pointed her finger at him. Finn was about to answer her when a wave of pain shot across his body, making him tense up. He squeezed his eyes shut as hard as he could until the pain went away. When his body finally relaxed, he said,
No, you first. Who are you? Where am I?
Ariola will give you all the answers when you first answer hers.
Stevie, a name like Areola.
So I don't know if we're gonna get to this point in the book, but she doesn't even know her own name. She gets her own name mixed up. It's actually Ariel.
Okay.
So
And you expect us to not make Sexual jokes about your story, Stevie.
It's welcome now. It just let Rebecca be free. Free the Rebecca.
All right. The girl tilted her head, her eyes growing wide as she studied him.
Who's Areola?
The girl gasped.
How did you know Ariola's name?
Are you Areola?
Are you a mage?
No,
Finn said, shaking his head.
I'm not. I'm. Who am I?
This is to be expected.
Yes.
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 I'm
So
trying
much
to do. I'm
yes.
trying to do my McGonagall voice.
Amazing. Yes.
Finn's eyes darted to the foot of his bed, where a very small and even more frail-looking elderly woman sat. Her eyes were squinted shut so tightly he couldn't see any part of her eyeballs. She looked to have a permanent smile on her wrinkly face as she massaged his feet.
Who are you? And why can't I feel my feet?
Which question do you prefer me to answer, Mr. Featherstone?
Is that who I am?
The old lady nodded. A classic case of severe hypothermia, I'm afraid. You're suffering from a tad amount of amnesia. I'll have my student here cook you up a concoction that will cure that right up. The girl smiled and bowed her head.
Areola is an expert in all things cooking.
Finn's eyes moved from the older lady to Areola and back to the lady who turned her attention back to rubbing his feet.
Am I going to survive?
He asked her. Oh, I would hope so. You are in very capable hands, dearie.
Who are you?
Why, I'm Nora Nibblefingers, but everyone here just calls me Nibbles.
And where is here?
Nibbles chuckled and shook her head slightly. All in good time, young one. Just know that you're safe. You'll be well taken care of, and if you choose to stay, there is a place for you amongst our people.
Oh, I'll do it. You're joking, right, Nora?
Came a deep hissing voice from the darkest corner of the room.
We trained Jade for 17 years, turning him into the perfect champion in every way imaginable.
The figure walked out of the shadows. Finn couldn't place where he'd seen this person, but he definitely looked familiar.
5 of those years, we spent searching for this particular blade, Nora, and all for what? For a single green-headed screw-up to accidentally claim it when...
The man, who had white hair, turned his head and stared at Finn with one wide red eye.
When he should have died.
Oh, hush now, Silver. You know as well as I do that destiny is more in control than we are of who gets what blade and who doesn't. It just wasn't the right blade for Jade, that's all. We have other options, you know. Silver didn't take his eyes off of Finn.
I still say we kill him and take back what's rightfully ours.
Nora's tiny gray eyebrows came to a point, and Finn could feel her grip tighten around his legs. Hush, Silver. You're going to scare the lad to death with that kind of talk. He's been through a lot in the past few days, and besides, the poor thing doesn't even know who he is yet.
That's even better,
snarled Silver, walking more into the light.
He's a nobody. We could all feel a little less guilty about feeding him to the dire wolves.
And we've got to end it there. I think that's a great place to stop.
Very good, very good. I forgot that Silver was in this scene.
Very, very cool.
Master Silver. I hate when someone else is reading it, you start seeing all the passive verbs, and it just kills me. Can you imagine? That's the 5th draft, so I just, But, yeah. Andy, you ever
read is what it is, Stevie.
Yeah. You ever read your stuff out loud and you're like, oh, gotta fix that. Oh, gotta fix that. Oh, gotta fix that.
All the time.
So at one point, you just gotta let it be free, spread its legs and fly.
Where does it come up with the blades?
So I am a huge anime fan, and there's 2 animes that are particularly my favorites, and that is One Piece, where when you eat a certain fruit, you get a different ability, and My Hero Academia, which is when you're born, you get a certain magical ability. And the really cool part about both of these animes is that some powers are more powerful than others, while some are just completely pointless. Now, none of them are, and what in One Piece, the main character becomes a rubber man. He's made of rubber. And you're like, how could that ever be the most powerful ability in the world? Well, that's why I created Jigsaw. I wanted something that was the worst blade ever. And I wanted to show how Finn took this blade and through his godly inspiration and just through divine destiny, he is able to make this blade super, super dope. Yo. But that was my favorite part. The dinosaurs came from my brother, and then I just mixed it together, kind of like in a big concoction of my own, and then pooped out sex jokes. But all of Stevie's fetishes coming out on the table, leaving two women disappointed and angry. You know what's great? I can't even use this video for like ads or anything. It's way too bad.
So when you did the first series, were you holding back?
The Dark Assassin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely was. I was writing more to market. I wanted a super cool assassin who was 8 feet tall and could do all this crazy shit. And I wanted the most heinous villain. And I think I did a pretty good job. I can't read the book now because every sentence I want to change, but I would love to do something with Andy where we put our books together, and that would call for a full rewrite of the Dark Assassin series, which I think has a lot of potential. It's just now I actually have I'll never say I'm the best writer in the world, but I have the craft behind me now to make the series way better. But excellent questions. I really appreciate that. Yeah. I definitely went 100% Stevie in the Bizarre Blade. So anyone that enjoys it is basically stroking my gooch troll.
Well, even in your videos, it completely shows exactly the kind of humor you're going to get.
Yeah,
like
I appreciate
those commercials.
And if you come and hang out with me, like Andy knows this, I've hung out with Andy twice now, and what you see on the podcast is what you get in real life.
100%.
Andy, that sounded like it's a negative thing. Come on.
Never, Stevie. Never.
Never. Yeah, but we had a good time in California, didn't we, Andy?
We did. We had so much fun. Probably a little too much fun.
Probably.
I had a pretty rough flight home after that erotica drinking game.
Oh yeah. Well, Andy, I think that's it for this podcast.
Yes, that is it.
Angel, you did Ariel perfectly. Like the voice was absolutely there. That's exactly
awesome.
how I picture her. In fact, Nibbles and Ariel were performing.
And Nibbles was awesome. That's like a Harry Potter kind of voicing.
Yes. That's exactly it. So, final notes on the Bizarre Blade series. I do pride myself in saying that it is something that I don't think you'll ever read. It's just bizarre. It's strange. It's full Stevie. Check it out. It's not, but it's a book full of. It is a humorous book, but there is very serious things happening in the book. The action scenes are very real. Death is very hard on the characters. There's a lot of psychological damage. In fact, in book 2, we actually meet someone who has depression disorders and stuff like that. So, or what am I trying to say? Psychological disorders, not depression disorders. So I definitely say check it out, and I really appreciate everyone sticking around and watching it and cracking BDSM jokes with us.
When you write stories about whip, Stevie, you get what you pay for.
I get whipped on the ass. So, and Roshan, thank you very much, man. I'm sorry I wasn't reading the chat. I was trying to keep up with Andy's intelligence. But Roshan, are you on? I'll finish Roshan. If you're on Facebook, add me, man. I know Rajin isn't, but anyway, that is it for the Fantasy Fiends podcast. Andy, is there anything else we need to talk about? Any updates next week?
No updates. We have a guest next week. I don't remember who he or she is, but they will be here.
Okay. Well, I think Angel and I have to go wipe the green shit out of our hair.
Yeah, I got hair chalk. This is even all this. That's because Jules came through. That's why I put all the blood on the wall.
So cool. Yes. Wow. I love it. Yes. Oh, and your video with your kids like warmed my heart, and my girlfriend said it made her day. So nice. That was the best thing ever. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love the ending. I can't believe you took out the cutscene of the dog.
No, my editor did. And I did. And I didn't step in dog crap. I laid in it. So this thing has been washed 4 times almost to get that crap out of there. It was
you were looking at your foot.
Pile. I thought it was like intuition. You look at your foot when you get crap on yourself, right, Andy?
That's right.
Would we say that's intuitive right there?
Sure.
Sure. I don't know. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys so much for watching this extra bizarre, extra strange, and extra Stevie podcast of the Fantasy Fiends. We love you all so much. Go grab your copy of the Jigsaw Blade. It is out right now. Love you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by.